Home prices have dropped in Calgary over the last year, but certainly not as much as some areas in the country. Corinne Lyall joins us now with a look at Royal Lepage's fourth quarter update. Good morning, Corinne. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Now let's start with some of the trends we've seen in Calgary over the last year.
Yeah, so what we found is that overall the pricing across all markets has come down a little bit for sure. Sales volume is down about 15% from last year. Most of that is occurring though in the condo market. We've experienced higher inventory, and that's kind of due to two things. One is more obviously new condo construction, but also a lot more purpose-built apartment buildings. So if you're driving around downtown, you'll see that there's been a lot of conversions, a lot of new construction for apartment buildings, typically with commercial below. And of course, when buyers have, or when consumers have choice, sometimes they choose to rent, especially if there's some favorable renting conditions. Like we're finding, obviously, the rental vacancy rates have come up over the last couple of years. And so if somebody potentially has a choice to rent for less, they may choose to do that instead of buying. And so that's really impacted our condo market a lot. Single family, though, is still trending pretty well. And in fact, the prices had stayed pretty stable in the single family market. We're expecting maybe in 2026 that it remains flat, maybe increases a little bit, maybe by 1.5%. So we'll see what happens. Economic conditions will really play a lot into what's going to happen into our real estate market.
Yeah, how does this compare with some of the other larger markets across the country?
Yeah, I mean, Calgary is still relatively really affordable. I mean, if we're comparing next to Vancouver and Toronto, for sure. I mean, they've had their prices decline significantly over the last couple of years. I think everybody's been impacted since COVID. Construction had really come to a stall during COVID, and that really put pressure on inventory. Now that new home construction has caught up, what we're finding is that inventory has increased across all markets across Canada. And Calgary experienced it a little bit less because we didn't have quite the same increase that some of these larger markets have had over the number of years. And so for Calgary, we've stayed pretty stable. And I think that there's still people looking to Calgary as a great place to move and live for affordability reasons, for the fact that we're an hour from the mountains. There's some really great things happening here with our new event center. I think Calgary's been a great draw for people thinking about a place to live. And I expect that to continue into the future.
Now, we've talked about those buyers, but how should these numbers inform sellers?
Yeah, so there's a tale of a few different markets in Calgary. And so again, we'll start with condominiums. Condominiums definitely, that market's become a little bit more saturated. Certainly not the way it was over 10 years ago, where we were experiencing like 9 months of inventory. Right now, we're hovering around 5 months. And so if you do have a condo that you're thinking about selling, you have to really think about maybe, staging it, really paying attention to what your competition is, pay attention to what your real estate professional says about pricing, and you may have to wait a little bit longer for that buyer to appear. If we're talking about single family homes, in the suburbs where you may be competing with new home construction, definitely you're going to have a little bit more competition. And so what I would suggest is really thinking about having a turnkey home. And what I mean by that is that a potential buyer can walk into your home and not really have to do a ton of work, right? Because if you're competing with new home construction, although it's much longer a wait time to move in, people may wait simply because they have a brand new house. And so think about your pricing, think about turnkey, and really get your home staged so that somebody that walks in thinks, oh my gosh, I can move into this place right away instead of having to wait, 8 to 10 months for something new. However, if you're in a mature neighborhood, so let's say something closer into downtown, maybe 20 minutes I'll just pick on a few neighborhoods like Willow Park or in the Northwest, Silver Springs. You're going to have less competition. And what we're finding in those neighborhoods, if you're priced right, we're still experiencing some multiple offers. And so really, what I would suggest, really pay attention to your competition, listen to your real estate professional, because that's going to play a lot into how many buyers are going to be willing to look at your home.
Okay, Corinne Lyall with Royal Lepage. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yeah, no problem.